This is the second part to this, and I can't stand up. I've already had to quit the first one, well, actually the third, so you won't get the first one. I had to quit and run, and pretty sick. But anyway, if you want to go back, it's plenty of it on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram over the last few years. The media has, believe me, the media knows all about it. They knew about my kidnapping before I did. I found out in '83 I'd written a medical malpractice book about mind control murders and programming. And one of them was the children in Atlanta in 1979, 80, maybe 78 were being killed by Wayne Williams, they say it. It was mind control used in that one, and I even spoke with his attorney, Mary Welcome, and it was after I had almost been killed, and I had worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. There you get the Simpson name, and my Wallace Warfield Simpson. I worked for the DA Simpson in Madison County, Alabama, Huntsville, the Space Center, and Madison's used in this murder that I'm talking about here. My mom was from Madison, Wisconsin. I worked for the DA, Madison County, Alabama, Simpson, and was a DA in Simpson, as in Wallace Simpson, that was supposed to marry the King of England, which was nothing but a cold-blooded lie and carry out of the worst crime ever was committed. This is an impostor, not King Edward VIII. Anyway, I was kidnapped in '41 in Throckmorton, Alabama, given the name of a twin. Both had been killed by their mother, and the family covered it up. It was a pigsty, or worse than a pigsty. Now, I can't go all over it again. The video will go out before I finish giving background on it, and that's what you have to have in this, because if you did a background check on me, you won't even get my real name or anything that really happened. It's what's been deleted. But mind control murders, until you address it before Congress, or the UN, which they're not going to let you do it. They're an arm of the people that kidnapped me, the Freemasons, the Illuminati. Hillary Clinton's part of it. She's a standing member. And by the way, their property's posted when they have these meetings, and the press is not supposed to be let in, although there have been pictures with them there, etc., that people did get through. Elizabeth, the illegal Elizabeth II, is another one, and Charles, her family of thieves. I'm not talking about Edward VIII. That's the reason they took him out. And Claudia Ruth O'Keefe is his wife. He never married, was. So what I'm going to say now is one of the rangers here in a newspaper, when I first came here in '86, it was about 92 or 3, he made the statement, and there's a big page in the Roanoke Times, that I had said the government was trying to keep me homeless, so I was living in the national forest, and they even arrested me 4 times. You have to know the background on it. I mean, I froze, starved, I was put on the side of the road, couldn't get a place to live, work, just shut down. So I used Hustler magazine and some other documents I had. I even had a letter from the FBI about ongoing investigation, national security involved. So now that I'm going to stop here, you can go back on them. I've told this before, and I'm connecting this with the one that's just happened in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech was one of them, et cetera, but the one that just happened, you know it. I'm going to say this, the Natalie comes into Natalie Wood, who was murdered, and that's still open, and there's a long list of patterns that go to that. And Madison, of course, Madison County, the district attorney in Madison, where my mother was born. But the Scott and Mark, that's my son's name, and I may be redundant, and this is going to go out. Gabby Gifford was U.S. Congressman, and this is Tucson, Arizona mass shootings, and then there was James Holmes and Sandy Hook. Before then, there was Columbine, and you can go back to the Wayne Williams, and they brought in the profilers then, and Mary welcomed his attorney there, and I've spoken with her, and she was going to take a deposition. Had been illegally transported to Huntsville. After I worked for the DA, I was working for Doyle Duke, Golden Triangle, which is something in the names, well, the Duke. but Golden Triangle, what was used there, chemicals and stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that again. I've done it too many times. It takes up my time. But twins were used here in Tucson, Arizona. Gabby Gifford is working for Hillary Clinton, who wants to take your guns, and so does she. You got to address mind control. It's knives, guns, drive your car into the river and drown. Take a plane down, the pilot or whoever's on it. It has nothing to do, it has to do with programming and controlling your mind, which, if you talk about it, you have to wonder where all these psychiatrists and doctors are, right? Anyway, this is the twin, and they brought me over here and gave me the name of the twin, stole my identity. Gabby's married to a twin, Mark. He's twin to Scott, who's up on the space lab. Mark and Scott Kelly. That's my son's name, Mark and Scott. This is an old photo. Now I'm going to jump. I showed you the Larry Flynn on all of them because he was shot and mind control was used, and he flew me out there. They killed his attorney. They've kept back to what the ranger said, and he was using it derogatory, but if you go through the last years, which is quite a few since then, that was put up. I'm just going to name a couple. I'm allergic to chemicals, and when I'm around toxic fumes, it makes me sick. I can't even tell you what it does to me. My immune system attacks itself, and over time, when it's deliberately done, and that's what's been done, it really kills you. It's slow murder. I'm going to show you just one. I have had to use HUD when I could, and the law enforcement's part of this. I can't get an attorney. I can't go to them. But they get things on people or their kids, etc. So I've said all that, and I'm just going to say this. Here's one. I lived for a time in Bedford, and that's where the Ian Zorings is in prison for a butcher knife on Nancy and Derek Haysom. And he was a German diplomat's son back then. He's in Buckingham State Prison, and Elizabeth Haysom is there. They were University of Virginia students. Okay, I'm going to go back to Bedford and Joseph's Way. It was a HUD. It was owned by black minister Reverend Moore out of Washington, North Carolina, okay? I lived there. They did the same thing. They deliberately used chemicals, and it was horrible what they did there. And Ellis is the name, I believe, of the woman who's still manager. To keep their jobs, they'll do anything. They should be arrested. Anyway, I left, and I got part of my deposit back, but this leaves you breaking leases, okay? And nobody wants to admit the truth, and I can't get an attorney. Anyway, I came back to Roanoke, and I found out that Reverend Moore had a bunch of these, and he had one that was brand new in Christiansburg, Melinda's Melody. Anyway, I've got several here, and I want to say this because this is going off. They rejected me, said your record of previous tendencies did not meet our screening criteria. You should see what was done to me. This is owned by the Reverend. This woman's last name's Scott. She's kept her job as far as I know all these years, and this is what they've done. This is Scott Hill, where I just came from, in Clifton Forge. McCoy was Christie. At least they gave me a decent letter. I'm having to get a referral from people who are killing me. I was able to get video of this because it was black mold all throughout it, and I got numerous photos of that, but you can't get photos of what they're doing to me, coming in and spraying and putting stuff in. Makes you sound like you're a nutcase, and that's exactly what they've done with all this. All these people, James Holmes has been suffering from mind control, not mental illness. One has nothing to do with the other. So is medical malpractice, murder, you name it. Now I'm going to go to, I guess that's it, because it scares me to death, and I'm not, because they've made my life a living, breathing hell when I could breathe. So I think I've told you enough over the years, more than enough. People want to kill the messenger, and that's me. They've left me homeless, bag lady, treated me like